Have you ever had a situation when you travel and you stumble upon a site and without any planning, just because you have a free minute, you decide to go in and check it out, and it turns out to be a completely awesome hidden gem that you knew nothing about? Well, that's what happened to me on my recent trip to Colorado with my husband. We actually went for a wedding, and I'm so excited to share the story of this little hidden Colorado gem with you. But before I do that, I want to make a quick announcement that this channel, as you probably have already noticed, is going to change a little bit. It used to be Russia with Olga Cardman, but after some thinking, I decided that I no longer feel comfortable glorifying Russia, talking solely about Russian history, and I decided to switch to some other things that I really like to talk about. It's mainly art history, but sometimes it's going to be little stories just from history all over the world, just like today. So, a couple weeks ago, my husband and I went to the town called Leadville in Colorado for a wedding, and we had one morning free to just wander around and explore the town, and we stepped inside this amazing site that is called Tabor Opera House. Have you heard of it? If yes, please let me know in the comments. Maybe you have even been to Leadville, or if you've been to Colorado, let me know. Anyway, if you're planning a trip there, I highly recommend going to Leadville and checking out the Tabor Opera House. So we went in, and there was this amazing guide that just immersed us in the history of the Tabor family and their fortune. It's one of those rags to riches stories. So there was this man, Horace Tabor, who came to Colorado during the gold rush. Him and his wife opened a little convenience store for the miners, and the way they made their fortune was actually not from digging for gold or silver. That's when silver was discovered. But by renting the equipment to the silver miners for free, but for the share of some of their findings. And that's how Horace Tabor made his first $1 million, which he then reinvested, and that made him one of the richest people in the area. He was even referred to as the Silver King. Now, soon after that, him and his wife got divorced because Horace Tabor had an affair with another woman whose name was Baby Doe. Eventually, it was time for him to marry this woman, so he divorced with his wife Augusta. And actually, Baby Doe turned out to be the kind of woman who stayed loyal to her man through the whole time. They had two daughters that was at the height of their wealth. Their names were Elizabeth and Rosemary. Rosemary also had a middle name, quite an interesting one, Silver Dollar. Rosemary Silver Dollar Tabor. And right across the street from the Opera House, you will also see a really cool saloon that is called the Silver Dollar Saloon. We went in there several times. It was really, really fun. Anyway, the story that the guide at the museum told us about involved so many amazing events. So Horace and Baby Doe were one of the richest families in the area. They had their wedding in Washington, D.C., and even the president was invited, and he came and visited the wedding. Their daughters were known as some of the richest babies of their time. For example, it was said that Silver Dollar had diamond diaper pins. And unfortunately, though, the family went bankrupt. Horace Tabor tried to, salvage their fortune, but it didn't work for them. And soon after that, he died. Here is the amazing part, however. His wife decided to stay loyal, not just to him, but to their whole business and the mine, because he told her to hold on to the mine. So because the family lost their fortune, she stayed in a little tool shed next to the mine for the rest of her life. She died in this little cabin 30 years later. probably from a heart attack. Anyway, so when you go to the opera house, you get to learn about the history of the family, and then you get to see some of the amazing things about the theater itself. For example, you get to sit in the original cast iron chairs, and you really get to feel big in those chairs because apparently people were much smaller. Than you even have a chance to sit in the VIP box and really feel like royalty. Another cool thing that you can see in that theater is the original stage decorations, and even the original piano that was used for performances. There's another amazing story behind it. So go to the theater and just find out for yourself. Finally, you get to be taken to behind the scenes where the dressing rooms were, and you get to see some of the costumes, you get to see some more stage decorations, and learn about some of the famous people that performed in the theater, including Harry Houdini or even Oscar Wilde. So let me know in the comments, have you been to Colorado? Have you been to Leadville? Have you heard of Tabor Opera House? Maybe that will be something on your bucket list, and let's stay in touch.